What's up, you guys? I have so many sticky notes that I need to quality check that all arrived at the same time. So I had a difficult time with this restock because the prints kept messing up, and then I was waiting for the replacement order and only a part of it arrived, so I was so confused. I reached out to my printing company, and there must have been some sort of hiccup because they were like, we don't see your order being processed, like we don't see that you have a replacement on file. So they had to do it again, and it finally processed and arrived, and luckily I think everything turned out really well. But it's always really tiring on the weeks where all the sticky notes arrive at the same time. These printed so crisply. How cute. I am going on vacation next week, so I also want to get ahead of everything as much as I can. This meant that I had to draw everything for Stationery Club a little bit earlier and have them all ship out sooner. So I'm actually going to bring you guys along for some Stationery Club stuff as well. I'm trying to get everything shipped out before I head out, and then anyone who joins the club during the week that I'm away will have their rewards shipped out when I get back. I'm not going to be away for that long, so it shouldn't be a problem. And sometimes I forget how many things I have to do when I have to leave, so I was a little frazzled because I had a lot of little home improvement renovation stuff going on over the past month in our house. So I think that also just tired me out, and I wasn't really ready to jump into getting ready for travel. But we are staying in the US. We do have to catch a plane. It's just gonna be me and my boyfriend, and we noticed that after a certain amount of time we always kind of feel like we need some kind of step away hiatus from our household. So I think it's good. I like to use a lot of points when I travel, and I think it was Alex who asked me a question about traveling. So I'm going to talk to you guys about it in this video. A lot of you guys have noticed that I like to travel a lot, and Alex asked me if I have always liked traveling. It was a Q&A question, but I didn't get to include their question in my last Q&A, and I was like, oh man, I do want to answer that. I just need to get around to it. I do think my interest in traveling started very young. I grew up in a family that moved around a lot. We lived in the US, but we were moving almost every, I would say, 2 to 3 years. The longest we stayed anywhere was for my middle school years, and somehow I got to start and finish middle school in the same district, which has never happened. I constantly moved. So I didn't have any friends going into high school because I started high school with my middle school friends, and then we moved. I was always the new kid and always trying to figure out if it was worth it to start making friends because I was always afraid that we were going to move again. So I remember thinking at some point, what's the point of me making friends if I'm going to keep moving? So I think because of all that moving, I did get to see a lot of random states and places because we would road trip in order to move. So I've lived in the West Coast, the East Coast, and now I live in the South in Georgia. So I've kind of been everywhere, and that lifestyle did let me see more things, but not in a way where you're actually on vacation or traveling. Although my family moved a lot, we didn't really go on vacations. So I think that's where my love for traveling stemmed from. It was the curiosity of what it's like to travel that really pushed me to want to try new things. So once I had the opportunity to study abroad through college, I took that as soon as I could. I applied for the scholarships and wrote essays to try to get grants and everything, and made my way to Ireland, which was so fun. I got to go to Northern Ireland and Ireland for a little over a month with a group, and I think that really started my travel bug, love for travel. It was just so cool to learn about a different culture while trying out all these different foods and talking to the locals, shopping, seeing all the beautiful scenery there. All of that really added up for me. And then it just snowballed from there. I had friends who really liked to travel too. So I remember I would just make random plans with my friends who were available at the time. And then in my mid-20s, it was a lot of cabin trips, and towards my, I guess, late 20s was when I started to do bigger trips since I was working. I'm one of those people who don't really have a dream vacation or a place that I want to check out. I'm open to everything, so it's worked out really well because there's always that one friend who wants to go somewhere and you would have never thought to go there unless someone brought it up to you, and then vice versa. So something that my boyfriend and I really wanted to do was to see the night sky, and the best places to see it, depending on the time of the year and everything, changes. So we decided to go to Iceland last year, and I invited my best friend and her husband, and then we got to go. So I have random adventures like that. With my work, it is really challenging because I have to plan everything ahead. I have to plan out my social media content and my launches, especially seasonal stuff. So right now we're headed into fall, and since mail takes a while to process and deliver, I want the seasonal stuff to be available as soon as possible for people. So I'm actually trying to have a launch before I leave for this trip, which means I have to figure out all those logistics of how I want everything to go for my sale and for my marketing, and I have to do all that while I'm figuring out what to pack and anything else I need to do to prepare for the actual trip. So that can be really exhausting, but at the same time it's kind of exhilarating because I feel like I have an end goal, and then I get to go and hopefully just enjoy the trip. It also depends on what kind of trip it is. If it's a trip where I have internet, then I can check on my phone and stuff, but then it also takes away from the vacation, especially if it is more of a relaxation trip. So I pick and choose my battles, and I think about what I want to gain out of the trip. In this upcoming trip, it's more going to be a hiking, exploring, and relaxation trip. So I'm not as worried about being able to check on my shop or emails in case there's anything that's an emergency or time sensitive, because I will have internet access. And my tip to everyone, if anyone decides, okay, I want to have a business, or you guys are struggling with the balance of figuring out how to have a better work-life balance when you're on vacation, if you absolutely have to check your phone, do it at night after your day is completely over, or in the morning before your day has started, so that you're not constantly checking your phone throughout the day. Just make it like a 5 or 10 minute thing on the days that you absolutely need to do it. That way you can really be present for the rest of the day and not constantly checking your phone throughout the day. Off to my next box. In my first and second year of business, I was definitely much more high-strung about trying to be online for... What the heck happened to the sticky note? Okay, that's weird. This is like part of a sticky note. So I really made an effort to try to be online and available all the time, even when I was on vacation if possible, because I wanted to try to post as much content as possible. But over time, I've gotten a lot better about just relaxing when it's time to relax. If you skip a few days of posting, it's okay. If you're not able to plan ahead and schedule everything in advance, it's okay. I would say if you're going to take a week off, post once or twice in that week, and that's fine. Luckily, I have a lot of videos that can be edited relatively quickly, so I have found ways to find different ways to post things between short videos and ASMR videos that take less time to edit sometimes, as well as photo slideshows, carousels. So those could be your post for the day as well. There's a lot of ways to do it. I just used to be really intense about it when I first started out, and I think I was definitely burning myself out trying to overwork, which is why vacation time is kind of sacred to me now. I would say every year I end up taking one trip lately. It's not consistent, but I noticed over the past few years that's how it worked out. And we were really lucky to be able to go to Japan earlier this year. A lot of the travel that we end up doing now is based on deals. I really like to use my points on my credit card to get better hotel and airfare prices. And if we see good airfare prices show up, sometimes that helps us decide where we want to go for an upcoming trip, since airfare can really add up. We have 3 more boxes to go. Isn't this crazy? So what was I saying? One of my biggest travel tips is for sure to try to utilize any kind of point system or cashback if you have access to it. The points add up pretty quickly, especially if you don't really use them. I had a window of time where I couldn't travel as much because of life and family circumstances, so the points were just accruing. So that is what I ended up using as my travel money jar when I went to Japan. I didn't get to use as much for Iceland because a lot of the places that you can stay at there hotel-wise is limited, so the options weren't really showing up for my chase travel as much. But the thing that I learned with using points is that for whatever portal you use, trying to see if you can move those points over and convert it to whatever hotel or airline you want to use it for. If the conversion is good, I find that it's better to do it that way, because that way you can also book directly through the company rather than through your credit card portal. So for example, if you want to book with an airline, you can take your points and then move the amount of points you need over to Delta or wherever. So I have noticed that that is the best way to do it, especially if you run into issues with your airfare or your hotel or something. I feel like you have more options with working directly with the company, and you can cut out the middleman if you do it that way. Also, look how cute these look. The mini ones on the sticky note covers, so freaking adorable. I was thinking about if there were any other places that I would like to travel to, and I think I want to go to Italy and Greece. I haven't really explored Europe outside of the Ireland trip I was telling you guys about, and I love the idea of being able to take a backpack and just hop around on a train to explore all of the cities that are nearby. That is definitely going to be a more tiring and physically laborsome trip, so I think I want to do that before I get older. I already have knee pain, so I'm feeling all sorts of things, and I'm so glad that I did certain hikes when I was younger. I definitely lean towards wanting to do more of the relaxing trips, such as cruises, because they are really cost effective and you don't have to worry about picking where you want to eat and stuff. Everyone can eat whatever they want and the price is all built in. So it is really nice if you want to go somewhere sunny and just relax by the poolside and hang out. So I noticed I've been leaning more towards the relaxation type of trips, but I think my favorite combination for a type of trip is to have one that has some relaxation and rest, but also some exploring. I don't want a trip that's always really jam-packed and go, 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 because that can be so tiring. Japan's definitely like that. You're going to be exhausted if you go to really any part of Asia, because for the most part people are walking around or catching subways everywhere, so it's so much walking. Oh my gosh, yay, this box is done. Oh my gosh, this video is going to end up so long. I really need to invest in a separate camera for all of my long form content. I record everything with my phone for now because I wasn't sure if it was worth investing in a camera for YouTube, but now that I'm doing it more consistently and I'm starting to see more growth here, I think it's a pretty good time to invest in a camera. Ooh, what happened with this one? Oh, that's a defect. You always know when the side is like half white like that, something went wrong. I'm actually going to stop recording so that I have enough storage to record some other stuff for the rest of this video later. You can see it better in this lineup. It's right above the mailbox and then it runs all the way across. Majority of them luckily didn't have white lines in them, and 130 of them had clamp marks and the little white lines. So here are some of the photo examples that I took to send to my manufacturer, and we'll see if we can get those replaced or refunded.